Hello everybody, Bill Platt here, and I just wanted to have a quick video with you today. This week, a buddy of mine who does the same thing as what I do, I provide training to book authors, and he provides training to book authors as well. And he was talking to one of his customers, and just out of the blue, he decided to ask the guy how many books he's published so far, because the guy had been buying this training for almost 2 years. And the guy said he had published 0 books so far. And that brought up a question in my buddy's mind. He wanted to know how many people were in the same boat. How many people who've been buying training from him for a number of years have yet to publish their first book. So he did a poll, and it was a simple one question poll. How many books have you published? That was the question. And it's a multiple choice. So your options are 0 or less than 5 or less than 10 or less than 100 or over 100 books. And that was his approach on the poll. And the numbers were shocking. 25% had published 0 books. A total of 1 out of every 2 people had published less than 5 books. And the top reasons why that is a problem for his customers and my customers and people I talk to who are not even, who are also not my customers, the top reason that people haven't published their first book yet is fear. There's a lot of things that they fear about the process. Maybe they fear that their book isn't going to be good enough, or people aren't going to like their book, or they haven't done a good enough job with their book yet, or it's a technical issue about how to format your book for publication, like formatting a print book versus formatting a digital book. And it may be we're scared also of how people are going to react if they know that we've written a book. A few years ago, I've been single for a bit. A few years ago, I met this lady, and uh, she asked me what I did for a living, and I told her that I was a book author. Now, that's a completely accurate statement. I am a book author, and I've earned my living from my writing. I've made money with my writing since 2000, and I've made my living doing it since 2005. Now, it should be noted that most of the stuff I write is like subgenre, subgenre. So I'm in a field where I'm not writing romance. I don't write fiction. Um, when I publish a fiction book, which I published a few, I always hire ghostwriters for that. If it's a nonfiction book, there's a 90% chance I wrote the darn thing. If it's training, there's a 90% chance, probably a 98% chance that I wrote the darn thing. If it's video training, uh, you can testify as to whether I actually did that myself or if I purchased paid somebody to do that for me. So those are various considerations. So I was dating this. It's incorrect to say I was dating her. I dated her once. And on that date, she asked me what I did for a living. I told her I was a book author. And she's like, "Oh, really? That sounds exciting. What book titles have you published?" And then I started reading them off, and her eyes just glazed over. It is a deer in the headlights moment for her, because she expected that if I'm a book author, I must be writing top-notch fiction. Well, I don't write fiction. I write nonfiction, and I write training materials. So I don't have the big monster audience that Stephen King might have, or James Patterson, or any of a number of fiction authors. I am not a household name, okay? The people who buy my stuff know and like and trust me, and they buy a lot of my materials, but I won't be famous to anybody who reads fiction books, okay? So I told her the titles I write. I gave her like 3 or 4 examples, and her eyes glazed over. And is the deer in the headlights moment. She just could not comprehend that I make my living writing nonfiction. And it's not the nonfiction of the sort of how to win friends and influence people. I don't write fiction that has that wide, or nonfiction that has that wide of an audience. For me, it's more, am I making a living doing it? Well, yeah, I am. But I'm not a multi-million-dollar seller, so it's all good. We are what we are, but we have to be. My main point is we need to be willing to do what other people are not willing to do. And I'm willing to put out a lot of titles in a year and piece together a living. And some books will only make me $300, and some will make me $1,000, and some will make me $5,000. And when all said and done, I'm pulling 6 figures a year, and I'm happy with that. Okay, so the for her, it was a non-starter that I don't write the kind of books that she would be interested in reading. So therefore, I might as well not write books at all because I'm not important, at least not to her. Okay, so that was our first and last date. So a lot of people, rightfully so, are afraid to tell their friends and family about what they do. The scariest thing about writing books is putting yourself out there to be criticized by others. Now, you have to have thick skin if you're going to write books, because you go into, no matter what book you look at, no matter how good the book, you go into Amazon, start prowling around on the Amazon website, and go to some of the best-selling books on Amazon and scroll down to the book reviews, and you'll be shocked to realize that every book on the planet has bad reviews. The one that I get the most enjoyment out of is going and looking at the reviews on Harry Potter. You and I both know that Harry Potter has created $1 billion in revenue. It's one of the highest grossing, if not the highest grossing, fiction world of all time. Yet there are like 240 people that gave it a 1-star review. Now, that's interesting to me. So, if Harry Potter's getting a 1-star review, and 241 stars, and like 482 stars, and like 1,200 3-star reviews, and then like 20,000 5-stars, and that's basically the way it breaks down. Almost every book has that exact same curve on the reviews, the number of stars given on each individual book. Now, I knew a guy about 10, it's probably closer to 20 years ago, who I remember the first I had ever heard of Harry Potter, and I wasn't a big fiction reader, but I heard about from this guy I knew here in town. And he's one of these guys, he's like, I knew his dad too, and I always called his dad a true believer, because his dad truly believed in a couple of issues, like the U.S. federal government was out to crush us and make us all slaves, and it was an evil government and all that good stuff. But he's also a believer in the rapture and the second coming of Jesus Christ, and not disparaging Christians or religion, but not everybody who is of a religious bent believes in the rapture. But he's a true believer. And his son was telling me, the first time I'd ever heard of Harry Potter, his son was telling me that Harry Potter was a work of Satan, and it was published to lure children into a satanic cult. Which, poof. So, no matter how good your book is, people are going to complain. You can be J.K. Rowling, and people are going to leave bad reviews on your books. No matter how good the book is, no matter how good the story is, no matter how profitable your book is long term. And so that's the issue on that. People are going to complain. So as book authors, we need to have thick skin. And as book authors, we got to understand that people will complain about our books, and our friends and our family are worse at it than strangers on the street. Strangers on the street will say we're trying to create a satanic cult with our book. Our friends and family will tell us it's a terrible book. Or they will lie to us and tell us it's a great book, but they won't tell any of their friends about it, so you can start selling because they don't want to be embarrassed that they know the author of this book. So the whole thing is on that. People are going to complain. People are going to leave bad reviews. Even your friends and family will leave bad reviews, or they'll lie to you and tell you what you want to hear and then not put their actions behind their words. So the fear that we have is misplaced. The only thing that we have, who was it, Franklin D. Roosevelt? The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. He's right, because the fear will keep us from achieving the greatness that we have buried deep inside each individual one of us. Okay? So please, I beg you, overcome your fears. Don't let the fear of people liking your book stop you from publishing. Don't let the fear of not knowing what to do stop you from publishing, because you can learn what to do. And most of all, don't let the fear of what people are going to say dissuade you or deter you from doing what you know you're capable of doing. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for tuning in today. I'm Bill Platt. Until next time, have a great day.